fear I owe you an explanation. I've been very busy. Not that I'm complaining at all. I've been lots of places doing lots of things. Summertime, the beginning of summer is the graduation times for our students in Holmes Institute. So I've been to graduations in Northern California and Southern California, and those were wonderful. I also was invited to speak at centers out in California. So I spoke in San Diego, I spoke in Oakland, and was that just last Sunday I spoke in Kingston, Jamaica. Yeah. Yes, what a wonderful community in Kingston. A woman named Elma Lunsted built a community in Kingston. There was no Science of Mind there. And she just figured it out and actually went to New York and worked as a night nurse so that she could take classes at the church there and learn to be a practitioner. And then she went back to become a minister and took that to Jamaica. And they have a thriving, wonderful community, a beautiful community. And I was so honored to be there for their 31st anniversary last Sunday. So that was fun. I've also visited 3 communities in Denver recently because I've been in Denver a lot, and that's been fun. So I've had all these amazing things going on over the last few weeks. And then last week, Barbara and I did our regular ritual. We went to the beach, and we did it different this time. We took our son, daughter-in-law, and 2 grandsons and invited them to come. So we got them a room in the same hotel, and we had this wonderful week at the beach. It was fantastic. And you can tell by my color, I spent a lot of time in the sun. But it did have a dramatic ending. And that was that on Saturday night, actually no, it was Saturday morning, about 2 a.m., all of a sudden the alarms went off in the building, and it said that we needed to leave the building. There were these announcements that kept blasting all over the building that we needed to leave. And I'm going, what's going on, Barbara? And she said, oh my God. And she went out and took a picture out of our window. Now that's pretty hard to tell what it is, but I'm going to help you with this. This right here is the railing of our room, and that's fire. And the pool is like right here, and these are 3 thatched buildings ablaze right outside of our room. So Barbara immediately calls Matthew and says, are you still in the building? He says, yeah, why? She woke him up, it was 2 a.m. And she said, get the kids and get out. So they were on the 10th floor of this building, so they immediately started down the staircase, which was not far from their door of their room. It was very convenient, but they're going down the stairs, and Matthew's holding the 5-year-old Noah, and Aiden is now 8, so he's kind of ahead of them a bit, and at some floor, people got between them, and Matthew called out to Aiden, hey, wait up there. And Aiden heard him and turned around, and I want to make sure I give this to you right. He said, what? You mean it's not every man for himself? Apparently he's brilliant. He just finished reading the Titanic. And, he was sure that's what was going on. You can take that one away. So that brings us to today. I'm here with you today. I'm intending on being here a lot of Sundays and a lot of Mondays for the next few weeks. I think I'll be here for 6 of the 8 prosperity classes that we're going to do this year. I have to be at a budget meeting, and I have to be at a Silmar. In fact, what's happening next is in about 9 days I'm going to the CSL Youth Camp in Idlewild, California, to be with our young people, and that's going to be wonderful. And then I'm speaking at the Center for Spiritual Living. Actually, it's called the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta, the big church in Atlanta, the following Sunday. But I'll be back here for Monday class. And then there's a Silmar where I'm the opening speaker for that event. And then after that, I'm going to Toronto, Ontario, to be the keynote speaker at the Panorama of Truth. I'm really staying busy, and it's all good. I'm telling you, I love my life, But I want you to know that being here is still the most important thing for me. This is still the place everywhere in the world that I go. When I come back here, I get spiritually fed. And that's because I'm with you. And because we're on this path together. It's ours to do together. So I'm going to keep going because that's the job that I've been elected to do, but I'm going to keep coming back too. So I'll be with you absolutely as much as I can. And it's just been a magnificent experience being able to travel around and share. One of the things that we do that I'm sharing, of course, is this identity prayer. Wanting people to understand that we really do have a prayer that our founder came up with. It speaks so perfectly to who we are. And so I've been saying that and sharing it and getting people to say it with me. And I know that some of you probably don't know that, but some of you do. So just to help center me, I know we already did it, but I want to do it. No words on the thing. Invite you to just close your eyes. And if you know the words, say them with me. If you don't, it's okay. Just be in the space and listen to what's happening so that we can just kind of once again connect with that idea of who we are. I know that within myself there is that life which is perfect, complete, divine. It was never born and cannot die, for it lives and is God. Within myself is the wholeness, peace, poise, and power of life. This life is health, it is abundance, it is love. There is one life, and it is the life of God, and this is my life now, and so it is. When the world knows that, it'll never be the same. Yeah. And we're finding it. Kate, you absolutely gave the talk this morning. Thank you. That was everything we needed to hear. And that's the truth, everything that you shared. And that's the work that we're doing. In February, when I was elected president, first president of Centers for Spiritual Living, it did not happen because of my good looks. I assure you. Now, my wife would tell you otherwise, but I really question her judgment on this particular matter. The reason that I believe that I was elected was that, not that I was the only one, because there were hundreds of us working on this, but every day I focused on what this new organization was going to look like, how it would be structured, how it would operate, what it would accomplish. Some would say I was obsessed with it, but I was in meetings hour after hour, sharing ideas, listening to ideas, being engaged in this amazing process of creation, honoring the paths that we had come from, but yet finding a new way that honored and created something even better. It was an amazing journey, and I was completely immersed in it. And although I was very much involved in the work that we were doing here, it was the thing that was just focusing so much of my attention. And when it came time to say, well, who's up to being the one that's going to launch this thing, the people chose me. They didn't all pick me, but the majority did. So, that's just how it works. And as I recognized that and realized that, there's still something else that was happening in the midst of all that. And that was happening here more than anywhere with anyone. It was happening right inside of me. And that was this much deeper sense of who I was. Not who I was as opposed to anyone else, but who I was, who I understood myself to be. And I've recognized now with just a little distance from that, having moved from that process, to see that was the ingredient that actually carried it forward. That we have to really start getting this thing that is so basic and fundamental to our teaching, this thing that we teach in those first 2 steps of our spiritual mind treatment. It's so easy to just rattle off, God is all there is, and that is what I am. That is who I am. To be able to do that is nice, but is that really the fiber of your being? Is that really the context within which you live your entire life? And what I've been doing for these last 12 years of service to this international organization, this movement, this spiritual movement in the world, is again and again asking myself, do I really get who I am? And it's been a process, and it continues to be a process. I'm not there. I'm working on it. I'm moving forward with it. And so are you. So are you. I know that everyone in this room has some desire in your life to create something extraordinary, to do something amazing, to be a vessel for some good, some powerful, positive thing in the world. I know that you want that. But you're not just a vessel. You're not a flow-through. You're the real thing. You're the divine presence. That creative power that created the universe is who and what you are. You cannot be separated from it. But yet we tend to reject that notion. We tend to think that's too much. Or we play that little dance where we get caught up in the problem. And then that becomes our focus. And we don't think we can get through it. And we don't know what to do next. And we don't know how things are going to work out. And then there's the future to think about. And what if so-and-so happens, or this or that or the other. And that's all distraction. We have come here to be who we've come here to be, and no one else can be us. The divine has replicated itself as us. And we are that divine presence. And that's the foundation we have to build on. Because we can have a great plan. We can structure it and design it and promote it and do all those things. But if we don't know who we are, we can't really totally embody it. We have to know who we are. And that's kind of the journey that I've been on for the last 12 years. And that's what has brought this into my life. And what an opportunity. Because I'm really getting to touch a lot more lives. I mean, I'm writing articles for magazines. I'm doing weekly teleconferences that I'm inviting thousands of people to join me on to talk about the issues of our movement and how we can be the best organization, the best spiritual movement that we can be. I actually believed before we got to this place of being totally reunified that doing so would create a synergy that would move us forward. Well, guess who gets to do that now? Guess who gets to spearhead that and say, let's go this way? Well, I'm right in the midst of that every day. And it's amazing. So it's not that I don't have challenges in my life. I do. There are things that come up all the time. And well, I've not had to do this before. What do I do? Well, I have to use the same tools I've used to get here, and I have to sharpen them even more. I have to use them more clearly. I have to be more refined in my thinking. I have to be more disciplined in how I deal with people who are upset with what we're doing or dissatisfied in some way, or somebody that wants to do something out of the box, and I'm going, I don't see how this fits. Well, how do you do this? I have to do those things now. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. The way I have launched, the first class I taught in a Science of Mind Center was at the Miami Church of Religious Science, and it was called The Hero's Journey. And I taught that class on Sunday nights to a group of people that would come and sit with me. And what I envisioned teaching that class was something that is sort of like the medicine wheel in the native teaching, you know, where you kind of, the native people say that you keep circling this wheel and going through the different stations and aspects of it. But I imagine it more as a spiral, because I think as you go through that, you gain consciousness, and so you're lifted up. And you continue that circle, but it's a spiral. And what happens is you're gonna have to experience the same kind of things. It's that moment where you go, I thought I already dealt with this. And you did, but not quite like this. This might even be bigger than that last one. But you now have the tools from having done it before, maybe many times before, to be at that place to go, okay, if I center myself, remember who I am, I can do this. Even though I don't know how in this moment, at some level I must, because I'm going to go through this. And then you get on the other side of it and go, wow, that was interesting. And you move on to whatever's next and you keep doing it. So it doesn't mean when you are living your dream that there aren't challenges there. There's always challenges. Thank God there's challenges, or how boring would life be? And in this wonderful process of continuing to grow, you get to touch more people, because not only do you go upward, but you go outward and you touch more lives. Because you're ready to touch more lives. And that's, I think, how we are creating this consciousness that right now still looks in the world like an esoteric teaching, a small kind of in the corner kind of what's that kind of teaching, into something that's really, really going to make a difference in the world. And I heard a quote not too long ago that really spoke to this. Do you remember a book called Megatrends? John Nesbitt wrote that book. Powerful thinker, and has made some amazing predictions for the future, not the least of which We're going to go down. We're not going to go back up at all. Okay. This. The most exciting breakthroughs of the 21st century will not occur because of technology, but because of an expanding concept of what it means to be human. I agree. But this idea of being human is to understand that the divine dwells in the human experience and cannot be extricated from it. There's no separation. You can't be human and not be God. That's the thing that's going to make it happen. And that's what we've been doing. And yes, there have been people doing this for 100 years. I don't care. When it's ready, when we're ready as a movement, we're going to have that impact on the world of bringing people into a conscious awareness of who we are. Not just us, but them as well. And when people are ready, and we're getting ready, this thing's going to happen like that, and it's going to really be like wildfire. Not like building fire. It's going to be something extraordinary, and that's what we're building. And that's why it's so important that you come to a place like this. For you, yes, but it's never just you, because there is no you and me. There's only God. So when you grow in consciousness and you get clear and you live your life according to these principles and you discipline your mind and you love your life, those around you see that and are impacted by it. And the world truly becomes a better place. And with all this traveling I'm doing to other centers, to other groups, talking to them, it's helping me get a reality that this thing is way bigger than we think. It's touching way more lives than we can know. We set that notion a couple, 3 years ago of touching 100 million lives. It sounds absurd. It sounds outrageous. It actually sounds a lot like, put up the next slide, like I can do anything, which is pretty absurd and outrageous, the idea that I can do anything. But you can. You can do anything. You can do anything. You don't know what you can do because you're not fully engaged in who you are yet. From your small mind, your little meanness, yeah, there's stuff that you can't do, but from the operative word I, from your I, you can do anything because you are the great I am. From that place, you can do anything. You don't know what that is yet, and that's okay. Do you think that when people on the planet, specifically in this case Europe, thought that the earth was flat? Think it was flat then? I used to make that as a joke. Do you remember when the earth went round? Fact is, it was already round, but people thought it was flat, so they operated on that notion. And there were forces in the world that were saying not to believe it was heresy, that the world was flat. And that if you took a boat out into the ocean, you'd fall off, right? That was the idea. And it took a courageous gentleman by the name of Christopher Columbus to actually, he never made it to the Indies, but he traveled west to go east, came back and said, look what I found, and people's reality had to shift. There was a paradigm shift, right? Most people, even up into the early part of the 20th century, said, man can't fly. That's absurd. Maybe in a balloon. Maybe with enough hot air, man can float, but not fly. And then a couple of brothers from Ohio came to this state and went out to the dunes on the coast and flew some kind of a contraption for a matter of seconds and said, no, there's something going on here we can do. Do you think there's anybody on the planet that thinks you can't fly now? I mean, we've taken winged machines to the moon. Yeah, of course we can fly. Of course we can. Major paradigm shift. The next major paradigm shift is going to be what Nesbitt talked about. Starting to get the power that we wield. And that's going to change everything. That's going to change the entire planet to a new way of being. And we are at the precipice of that change. We are right there. We are the ones already engaged in this conversation. But can we really have it? Well, I want to challenge you to have it. Oh, it's so nice just to think about it without having to do anything. But I'm going to ask you to do something. I've organized my schedule so that on the 6 of the next 8 Mondays, I'm going to be in town. And we're going to do our traditional thing of having a class. We call it our Summer Prosperity Series. Seems pretty benign. Teach you how to get money, right? Yeah, it's bigger than that. I want you to know, I want you to go on a journey with me of seeing how much you can know about yourself, how much you can embrace about who you are, and how your thoughts and your ideas and your sense of self can create your pathway. Now, what we've done for years is have this wonderful class, and at the end of the class, do a fire walk on the last night. Now, a fire walk, or we've done board breakings, brilliant board breakings, with Brian Byro, who's in the room. Thank you, brother, for that good work. And what I find is with the fire walks is that usually it's about half as many people as have been coming to the class all summer. And I've often wondered, what are those people that don't come thinking? What do they, well, and so what came to me were some thoughts. One was, I just don't do that. Which means there's something that I'm not fully willing to embrace about myself in that. So the idea, the notion of, things like I would step on the fire and burst into flames. Those kind of notions come to mind, but it's just too confrontive and I'm just not going to go. And what I want to suggest to you, that it's not about walking on fire. It's about knowing who you are. It's about knowing who other people are. It's about defying that idea that things are impossible. And even if you don't do it, if you see it, it has an impact on you. So the idea this year is we do that first. We do it tomorrow night. And then we use that energy to build on for the next 7 weeks. That's the plan. So if you're thinking, I'll come the second week, I really want you to reconsider that. I want you to, and if you're going, oh, I already did that. Well, you didn't do this one. You didn't do this one. Remember the spiral? You didn't do this one. This is going to be a different one because we're going to take the energy from this. And how many of you have been in one of these? Okay, all of the room, hands go up. You know that every time we do it, something amazing happens. Somebody has this extraordinary breakthrough. Last year we had a woman that declared she would not be walking on fire. She just said outright, it's not going to happen. And I explained to her, but we all take our shoes off when we get out there so that we can't tell the difference between who walked and who didn't. It's everyone's personal experience. She said, okay. And of course, in the middle of it, there she was, walking on the fire. We came back in and she, of course, explained that her son had been killed in a fire that he set. Just a short time before that, and that she was terrified of fire. And yet she had her healing that night. Who would not want to experience that? So I want you to kind of reconsider if you're thinking, not right now, that maybe this could really be something that could touch your heart. I don't care. I really don't give a hoot whether you walk on the fire or not. I want you to get the energy of it, the feeling of it, the fullness of it, the possibility of it. And I want you to know it's not going to stop through the whole 8-week program, the whole 8 nights that we're together. We're going to challenge one another to do some things, to see that those things that we hold back on, where we say, I can't do that, or it's too hard, or that's just crazy, or whatever it is we might put in our heads that keep us from knowing who we are. That the truth is, I can do anything. I can do anything. That's the greatest truth of who we are. So consider it. Consider coming to this thing and seeing what's there for you. And I want to tell you that I suspect that anyone that comes will have a blessing laid upon them. Because that's what this is about. Us knowing who we are. Yes, have a plan, have a strategy. Do the thing that you think will carry you into the life that you need to have, that you've come to live. Absolutely. But let's work on creating a foundation of knowing who we are and see what we can create. I think it's going to be something amazing. I'm so grateful to be home. I'm so glad that you came to spend this time with me today. I'm taking it personal. And I want you to know how much I love you.